News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria's capital Abuja, where the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has sued Senate President Godswill Akpabio over the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja, the suit challenges the 6-month suspension, calling it patently unlawful and a violation of her fundamental rights. SERAP argues the suspension deprives her constituents of representation and is an attack on free speech. The group seeks a court order to reinstate Akpoti-Uduaghan. The group seeks a court order to reinstate Akpoti-Uduaghan and prevent further disciplinary actions against her. The senator was suspended for allegedly speaking without permission and refusing a new seat in the chamber. No hearing date has been set. This week's Senate proceedings addressed major legislative developments, security concerns, and political controversies. From by-elections to security interventions and debates on electoral reforms, News Central's National Assembly correspondent, Sagir Ibrahim, brings a recap of key highlights from the Red Chamber this week.
The Senate began the week by addressing vacant seats in the Red Chamber. They directed the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct by-elections in Anambra South and Edo Central following the death of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah and the election of Senator Monday Okpewolo as Edo State Governor.
And we urge INEC to immediately conduct, in line with the Constitution, elections to fill those 2 vacancies.
It also called on INEC to implement the Supreme Court ruling restoring the Aniocha 2 state constituency in Delta State following a motion by Delta North Senator Ned Nwoko to ensure fair representation for the affected constituency.
The delay in implementing the Supreme Court judgment undermines the rule of law, disenfranchising the people of the affected towns, and also denying them proper representation in Delta State House of Assembly.
Insecurity in Benue State also dominated discussions. The Senate called for urgent action, urging the Benue State government to enforce its open grazing and ranching laws to prevent further clashes.
The inability of the present administration in Benue State to enforce the law has exposed members of the National Assembly from Benue State to undue pressure and name-calling by our constituents.
No demonstration of empathy has been shown by the government of Benue State. Those of us elected on the platform of this Senate are endangered species because our communities think, and unfortunately very wrongly, that it is our responsibility to provide security.
On electoral reforms, the Senate passed for second reading a bill seeking to amend the Electoral Act to provide for early voting. Sponsor of the bill, Abdulaziz Yaradua, explained that the amendment aims to allow essential service providers like security agents, journalists, and electoral officials to vote before Election Day. Amid these developments, the Senate passed a vote of confidence on its President Godswill Akpabio following allegations of sexual harassment leveled against him by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Majority Leader Kweyemi Bamidele emphasized the need to put the matter to rest, describing it as a distraction from the Senate's constitutional mandate.
We need to concentrate. There is work to be done, and we need to concentrate on our mandate, regardless of what anybody might say, Mr. President. We do not only stand united around our mandate, but that we also communicate this clearly to members of the Nigerian public, by moving a vote of confidence in the Senator Godswill Akpabio leadership of this Senate.
With legislative decisions addressing security, electoral reforms, and political controversies, this week's Senate proceedings underscored efforts to maintain order in governance. In Abuja for News Central, I'm Sagir Ibrahim.
We now head to Rivers State, where a political analyst, Mahmoud Jega, says Rivers State Chief Judge Justice Simeon Amadi is the main obstacle preventing the State Assembly from impeaching Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Speaking on television, Jega claimed lawmakers loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike are setting traps for Fubara to justify his removal. The lawmakers, led by Martin Amaule, recently won a Supreme Court case restoring their legislative powers. On Thursday, they locked the governor out of the assembly, citing lack of notice for his budget presentation. Jega warned that the lawmakers are now targeting Justice Amadi, who they accuse of falsifying his age to clear the path for impeachment proceedings. To discuss this, we're joined by a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Towo Oserowoja. He joins us from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining us, Towo.
You're welcome.
Please speak to us on the legal barriers that exist that could prevent the Rivers State House of Assembly from proceeding with Governor Fubara's impeachment.
Well, first of all, I don't really know where the legal barrier is going to be because the procedure must be followed as stipulated in the Constitution. And from all indication, I don't think there is any ground for impeachment as it is now, except to look at it politically, not legally. The Constitution states grounds upon which a governor can be impeached in Rivers State. And you could recall that immediately the Supreme Court judgment was issued or was delivered, in less than 24 hours, the State House of Assembly issued an ultimatum to the governor to submit or present the budget. And the second letter again has to do with sacking of his commissioners. And from the public domain, which I believe is also, we will say they are sketching facts, the governor has made several efforts to meet or to reach out to the current Rivers State House of Assembly, and is to no avail. And at the same time, again, you could see some constitutional breach because this is the first time in the history of Nigeria where a house can adjourn sine die. That word are basically used in the legal court, not in the legislative house, which gives them constitutional required days they should sit in a year. So it's really disturbing. Therefore, the aspect of this chief judge, I think it's not an issue because if you look at it, anything that has to do with judicial officers in Nigeria, it has nothing to do with the DSS investigating. The first point of call is the NJC. So the House have not taken that step, but want to see the coercive or the method or the reason behind them going to the DSS rather than petitioning the chief judge to the NJC.
Okay, so but what could be the consequences if the lawmakers succeed in removing him? That's the chief judge.
Well, the lawmaker cannot remove the chief judge of the state. The lawmaker requires the lawmaker also requires the assent of the governor, and at the same time the recommendation of the chief of the NJC, which is the National Judicial Council. They need that requirement from them. So it's not just an open check for the State House of Assembly to just take over or sack or recommend. It has to. There are procedures for a chief judge to be removed. Even a judge of a state high court, there are procedures that should be followed. And the first point is a petition for a reasonable ground of misconduct against the chief judge that ought to be submitted to the NJC, which is the body that looks and disciplines judges. So that is the first point in court, and that point has not been done. And another thing again is based on the recommendation of the governor to the State House of Assembly, then it will be recommended to the NJC for the chief judge to be removed. So all these are just, how will I put it now? I think it is a more or less an amateur political gameplay, or should I say, is an attempt to retwist the provisions of the Constitution.
Okay, so in your personal opinion, Towo, are the actions of the lawmakers purely within their constitutional rights, or do they appear to be politically motivated by their allegiance to the minister, Nyesom Wike?
Well, I don't want to join the public opinion that they are basically loyal to Wike, because in every situation in turn, every man has a price, or every man knows what he's looking for. Even Wike, as he's sitting there, is also prone to issues like this. Well, the first point, of course, is that for them to have adjourned, for them to issue a public demand for the budget to be passed, well, it's within their constitutional requirement. If you look at section 120 through section 129 of the Constitution. Then the other thing again is for them to have locked the governor out. You see that it's more or less of political light rather than discharging of their responsibility. Then the third aspect of it is what some of us I did concern is for them to adjourn the sit in sine die. And I think the wisdom of the Supreme Court now will come to play. If you look at the case they are relying on, there is something the Supreme Court rely on in giving some consequential order, which so many people are concerned about, but it's bound to happen, and which we call the doctrine of necessity. And I think it's at time the Fubara legal team should sit up and look at the provision of the Constitution, because for them to have adjourned sine die, they are stopping the running of governance in that state. And I think basically the governor legal team can activate, or the same time see means of activating section 11, subsection 4 and subsection 5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to see that the National Assembly take over the proceedings of the State House of Assembly for the purpose of smooth governance in the state, till when the State House of Assembly decide to come from their indefinite recess, because they cannot hold the state to ransom and they cannot stop the state from running in a constitutionally operated way and manner.
All right, now, how much influence does the judiciary have in a case like this? Can the chief judge legally refuse to cooperate with an impeachment process?
No, the chief judge cannot legally cooperate with it. You see, that is one of the things we need to see, the vulnerability of the executive and the vulnerability of even the State House of Assembly members. But let me look at it from this perspective. If the Constitution is followed properly, first of all, what would they do? There will be a motion on the ground questioning bringing grounds upon which the governor is seen to be of misconduct. And after the motion is being presented to the State House of Assembly, a request will be made to the chief judge to constitute a panel which will inquire into the allegation. And you know, the Constitution makes the executive a bit vulnerable, because what they consider as gross misconduct, what is considered as gross misconduct is not clearly spelled in the Constitution. So it's when those provisions are complied with, the chief judge has no reason not to constitute the panel. So his own is to constitute a panel, but procedures must be followed. And those procedures, I think the State House of Assembly have not done that. Then the other area which I think Fubara should look at, which is political, is that the members are also vulnerable. If the people are against their action, a recall is inevitable too. I think we should put all those things into play, for we to check the excesses of what is coming from the legislative arm and also the executive arm in Rivers State.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tawa, for your time and for speaking to us.
You are welcome.
With that, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you how the Kalabari people held a civic reception to honor FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Stay with us. Staying in Rivers State, the Kalabari people, who are of the Ijaw Nation, have held a civic reception in honor of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Now, the event is a thanksgiving for Supreme Court ruling on Rivers State political affairs, comes just 3 days after the minister described the Ijaw people as a minority during a media chat. News Central correspondent Biola Festus has more.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, arrives in Abalama, a stronghold of the Rivers Ijaws, in grand style, amidst protests by the Ijaw Youth Council, Eastern Zone.
Police don't share tear gas, or police don't shoot tear gas.
The civic reception is happening despite warnings from several quarters to dissuade organizers from inviting the minister to Kalabari and Ijaw stronghold. Addressing his teeming supporters, Wike clarifies that he is on the side of the Ijaws and supports their desire of producing a governor.
What you have done today is to tell the world all this noise in the radio is not the real thing. You are the Calabaris, you are your Ijaw nation, and you are receiving me today.
It recalls the uproar elicited by his recent media conference, which had put stakeholders of the Ijaw ethnic nationality at edge.
What I said on my interview, people will want to misinterpret. Whatever they want to misinterpret is their business. What I said is this, and I want to repeat it. We are all working together. If we don't work together, it will be difficult to produce a government.
Commenting on the feud between him and the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, the FCT minister asserts that the governor has been having a tea party with those who never meant well for his government. He boasts that Governor Fubara's woes are far from ending.
I served with people who wanted to be governor, whom I said no. This wouldn't mean well for Rivers State. Now, they are the ones surrounding you, giving you advice. Why do you think you will succeed? They will give you bad and see what the bad advice is doing to you. You're already down 2-0. 2-0. And more to go.
Stakeholders in Kalabari recount the FCT minister's benevolence to their ethnicity, describing them as indications of his indiscriminatory attributes.
As a two-term governor, you gave everything to Rivers people. Not only in terms of unparalleled development, but also positively changing the dynamics of inter-ethnic relationships through enhancing strategic collaboration among the ethnic groups in the state. You protected, defended, and gave a sense of belonging to every ethnic group in the state. The Ijos cannot thank you enough in this regard.
I hear people say, Ijo, Asawana. It's who made the Ijo governor? Yes, so we can make the Ijo governor for the first time in our history. We are not the only ones in the Niger Delta. We are a small fraction of the Niger Delta. We have other ethnic nationalities that make up the Niger Delta. And we need them to be able to survive and exist as the people of the Ijo people.
Meanwhile, the Ijo Youth Council had staged an early morning anti-Wike protest at the entrance of the community where the reception was holding, in response to the comments made by the FCT minister that the Ijos are minority in Rivers State. In Asari Toru, for News Central, Biola Festus.
In the meantime, youth groups under the aegis of the Niger Delta Youth Council have threatened to shut down all production across the region over the ongoing political crisis. Now, the groups issued a 7-day ultimatum to President Bola Tinubu demanding, among other things, the immediate restoration of Rivers State's statutory revenue allocation and an end to all impeachment plots against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and a public retraction of alleged anti-Ijo remarks attributed to former Governor Nyesom Wike. In an open letter to the president, signed by NDYC President Bene Okori Mamamu, the group warned that failure to meet their demands could result in a total shutdown of oil production in the region. To discuss this, we're joined by a public affairs analyst, Uche Ugwaja. Thank you for joining us, Uche.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Uche, how serious is this threat by the Niger Delta Youth Council? What impact could the shutdown of oil production have on Nigeria's economy and national security?
Yeah, I don't know how serious I can't assess here how serious the threat is. But if you are talking about the impact, if there is a shutdown of the oil sector in the Niger Delta, then the impact will be really unquantifiable. Because if we go back during the Yaradua days, President Yaradua days, we knew what the impact was when the production, Nigeria could not meet its production quota. And they speak presently. If you saw the latest report from the OPEC,
you could see that clearly that Nigeria has fallen short of meeting its quota, or oil production quota for the month. The latest figures we have the latest figures shows that what Nigeria is producing presently is 1.465 barrels per day, and this is short of the OPEC quota of 1.5 million quota per day, and it also falls short of the benchmark set for the 2023-2025 budget, which is by the government, which is 2.06 million barrels per day. So if this threat is carried out, clearly it is going to affect the revenue of the federal government tremendously.
Oh, okay. Now, but do you think that, this ultimatum is, purely about protecting the interests of Rivers State, or is there a larger political agenda at play?
Well, everything is politics. Everything is politics. Whichever way you look at it, is politics. The Ijaw people are saying, sack Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, who clearly, I saw some of those videos, who says so many unkind things, and things you wouldn't even want to come from a minister, targeting an ethnic group, So, long and short of it, it is politics. Either way you look at it, the Ijaw people will be satisfied if the President Tinubu removes Nyesom Wike as FCT minister. So it is politics. And from the other side, Wike's side of it, it is also politics. And even from the federal government side, if you look back, for those who are students of Nigerian history, if you even look back when Chief John Oyegu was the APC chairman, there was this judgment, Supreme Court judgment, that restored with this same Nyesom Wike as the governor of Rivers State after the 2015 election. And Oyegu cried bitterly how the court had taken away what belongs to them. So it has always been the agenda of the APC government to have Rivers State as one of the states they have captured. So either way you look at it, it is politics.
Okay. Now, Uche, how should President Tinubu handle these demands, to prevent further escalation while maintaining constitutional order?
Well, I think that's why he's president. He's a well-known tactician. He's a strategist. He's been governor for 8 years. He's been around. He understands the importance. First and foremost, he understands the importance of Rivers State to the federal government when it comes to revenue. So in fact, the name of Alliance or Rivers State is the treasure base of the nation. So President Tinubu understands that. So the question now is, how is he going to play it? Between his choice, his protection of the Nyesom Wike. Is he going to throw Nyesom Wike under the bus in the larger interest of Nigeria or his own larger interest? Or is so the long and short of it, I think Tinubu is well versed. He knows what is happening. He knows the game about 2027, who is more useful to him, whether it is Nyesom Wike or whether it is the oil, the revenue, and the stability of the country. So he has to make that the critical balance, choose that balance, whichever one that favors him. But I think he will take the right decision.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Uche.
Thank you very much.
Now to an update on the Kano Emirate tussle. Despite the Kano State government's insistence that the appeal court did not nullify Sanusi's reinstatement as Emir of Kano, the camp of deposed Ado Bayero, led by Aminu Babba Agundi, said their principal remains the authentic Emir of Kano pending the judgment of the Apex Court. Now speaking to journalists in Kano, but Baagundi called on the general public to discountenance the comments by the Kano State Attorney General and wait for the Supreme Court's judgment. Also addressing journalists in Kano shortly after the ruling, Harun Adederi, the state's Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, said the ruling does not invalidate the reinstatement of Lami Osanusi as the 16th Emir of Kano. In a ruling delivered on Friday, the appeal court temporarily held off on enforcing its own judgment, overturning a ruling of the Federal High Court invalidating the Kano State government's repeal of the 2019 Emirate Council law.
The respected panel of justices heard and granted the application for stay pending the hearing and determination of the existing appeal before the Supreme Court. This is normal and usual routine because it happens when any party wishes to maintain the status quo in a given matter pending the determination of a substantive appeal. It is, however, worrisome seeing the various captions and headlines deliberately intended to mislead the general public by misrepresenting the facts. We hereby use this medium to call upon those involved in these negative and destructive misrepresentations to desist from interfering in judicial processes. The judiciary, as a sacred institution, must be jealously respected and guarded for the preservation of peace and orderliness of society.
An injunction is hereby granted, restraining the respondents herein name either themselves, their agent, previous servants, or personal representatives from imposing the judgment of this court. And they cited the number of the case. CNKN 126-2024, Kano State House of Assembly, and versus Alhaji Aminu Babadang Agwendi and others.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it has recovered over 365.4 billion naira and secured 4,111 convictions in 2024, according to the Commission's Executive Chairman, Ola Olukoyede. Speaking at the end of a three-day retreat in Uyo, Olukoyede attributed the Commission's success to the dedication and professionalism of its staff, pledging to exceed these achievements in 2025. He emphasized the importance of integrity in the fight against corruption and assured that a revamped EFCC would emerge in the coming months. Legal expert Femi Falana, SAN, praised the EFCC's progress, while Professor Tony Iredia highlighted the need for more public involvement and correct perceptions of the Commission's work. Wife of the President, Oluremi Tinubu, has clinched the Woman of the Year award at the Independent Awards 2024 held in Lagos, while Seyi Makinde, Governor of Oyo State, received the flagship Man of the Year award for the priority and sustained attention given by his administration to multi-sectoral investments in infrastructure across the state in education, health, road, and the all-important agricultural sector. Other governors who were recognized for providing impactful leadership include Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, who is the Governor of the Year, Solid Minerals Development. The Independent Newspapers Award for Development in the Healthcare Sector went to Sheriff Oborewari of Delta State, while Basio Tu, the Governor of Cross River State, received the award of Governor of the Year 2024 for Economic Transformation. Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State was also recognized for his efforts to enhance national food security.
I receive this prestigious Woman of the Year 2024 award from the Independence Newspaper Limited on behalf of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Mother of the Nation, Her Excellency, Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, my mother, my mentor. She has asked me to thank the board of the directors of Independence Newspaper Limited for this great honor accorded to her, and this will also inspire her to do more hard work. The First Lady would like to dedicate this award to every Nigerian woman, youth, and children who contribute to the growth of our beloved nation. Ramadan Kareem and happy Lenten season to you all. Eshe Pupo. God bless the Independent Newspaper Limited. God bless our beloved country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Meanwhile, News Central Television has clinched the fastest rising television station of the year 2024 at the Independent Newspaper's annual award ceremonies. The ceremony had dignitaries from all spheres of human endeavor in attendance to celebrate distinguished men, women, and institutions that made the year 2024 remarkable in their various spheres. The nominations, which were determined by the Independent Board of Editors, took cognizance of the verifiable achievements of the awardees in line with the theme of this year's edition, celebrating landmark accomplishments. The award was received by Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief of News Central, Kayode Akintemi, accompanied by the top management staff.
Information isn't just consumed, they are a springboard for action and impact and progress. They are approaching them access to more than 2 million monthly viewers.
News Central TV, congratulations.
The news continues in West Africa, where Burkina Faso's military rulers have dismissed accusations that the army had committed abuses against civilians in the west of the country earlier this week. Earlier in the week, social media accounts had carried videos showing dozens of bloodied bodies strewn on the ground with no apparent signs of life, their hands and feet bound. Most of them appear to be women, children, and elderly people. According to a local source, entire families of ethnic Fulanese were killed in the Solenzo area between March 10 and 11 by soldiers and allied civilian militias. On Friday, Human Rights Watch called on the military leaders who seized power in Burkina Faso in September 2022 to investigate the killings. It counted 58 bodies in the video, but believes the death toll could be higher. Former Guinean President Alpha Condé, who was overthrown in a 2021 coup, said Saturday that the ruling junta was trying to subjugate the opposition after the military suspended his party. The military government, led by General Mamadi Doumbouya, said on Friday it was suspending 28 political parties for 3 months, including 2 of the country's leading formations. Condé's Rally of the People of Guinea and the Union of Republican Forces Party of Sidia Touré, who, like Condé, is living abroad. The military government claims these parties failed to meet their obligations to provide bank accounts or hold a Congress over the past 3 months. The military also dissolved 27 parties and placed 4 other political groups under observation. In the east of the continent, in the besieged city of El Fasher, Sudan, residents are seeking refuge underground as conflict rages between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Nafisa Malik, a 45-year-old mother of 5, takes shelter in a cramped hole beneath the earth, shielding her children from the constant artillery fire and air strikes. With thousands of homes destroyed, many residents have created makeshift bunkers, some hastily dug and reinforced with sandbags. Mohammed Ibrahim, who lost neighbors to the violence, dug his own shelter to protect his family. The ongoing war, which has claimed tens of thousands of lives, continues to devastate the region. Outside the African continent, a devastating nightclub fire in Kokani, North Macedonia, has claimed at least 59 lives and injured over 155 people. The blaze erupted early on Sunday at the Paul's Club during a concert by popular hip-hop duo DNK, attended by around 1,500 people. Witnesses say sparks from pyrotechnic devices ignited the ceiling, causing the fire to spread rapidly. Now, many concert-goers, unaware of the danger, continued watching as flames erupted above them. In the chaos that followed, panic ensued, leading to tragic crashes. The victims, aged 14 to 24, were mostly young concert-goers. Authorities have issued arrest warrants for 4 people in connection with the fire as investigations continue.
До 11:30 според информациите со кои разполагам. Починати се вкупно 59 лица. Од нив 35 се идентификувани.
At least 33 people were killed and dozens more injured when tornadoes and violent storms raked across the central United States. Roofs torn off, homes and large trucks overturned as forecasters warned of more tornadoes to come this weekend. 8 people died in Kansas in a crash involving more than 50 vehicles caused by low visibility during a severe dust storm. Missouri State Highway Patrol confirmed 12 storm-related fatalities and shared images of boats piled on top of one another at a marina destroyed by the weather. The state police reported downed trees and power lines as well as damage to the buildings, with some areas severely impacted by tornadoes, thunderstorms, and large hail. Still in other news from around the world, hundreds rallied in Albania's capital, Tirana, as the opposition protested a new ban targeting TikTok, arguing that the move would have an impact on elections later this year. Earlier this week, Albanian authorities ordered internet providers to block relevant IP addresses and DNS servers linked to the app, implementing a ban ordered by Prime Minister Edi Rama in December. Rama said the ban followed a confrontation that started on social media and led to the killing of a 14-year-old student near a school in the capital, Tirana. The killing sparked a debate about the impact of social networks on young people. Meanwhile, opposition leader Sali Berisha said the ban would undercut their ability to campaign online ahead of May's parliamentary elections.
Ky vendim për të mbyllur TikTokun nuk është asgjë tjetër veç se një precedent I rrezikshëm për lirinë e fjalës, për lirinë e shprehjes. Për këtë të drejtë që nëna e ka garantuar Konventa Europiane e të Drejtave të Njeriut. Nuk e hap dot, kryeministri ka bllokuar TikTokun në Shqipëri. Mesazhi tjetër I Danielës më goditi fort. Ajo më shkruan: "Lores, a jeton në Shqipëri apo në Korenë e Veriut?"
In the world of sports, Eniola Bolaji cemented her status as the world's second-ranked para-badminton player, securing back-to-back gold medals within 2 weeks. She dominated Turkey's Halime Yıldız 2-0, 21-7, 21-10 in the SL3 women's final at the Spanish Para-Badminton International 2025 in Toledo on the 16th of March. Bolaji's path to victory included wins over India's Sanjana Kumari Yildiz in an earlier round and Ukraine's Oksana Koziba in the semi-finals. This triumph follows her gold at the Spanish Para-Badminton International second in Victoria And Badminton Federation of Nigerian President Francis Obi hailed her as Africa's most decorated player with 12 international gold medals. He also highlighted Nigeria's upcoming All-African Para-Badminton and Abia International Championships as key for the sport's growth. Australian sprinting sensation Good clocked the fastest men's 200 meters time of the year on Sunday, running 20.05 seconds in Queensland State Championships heats. The 17-year-old then stormed to a wind-assisted 19.98 in the final, though it was deemed ineligible. Good first gained attention in December by breaking Usain Bolt's 16-year-old best with a 20.04, surpassing Peter Norman's long-standing Australian record of 20.06 set at the 1968 Olympics. His recent performance has reinforced his status as a rising star in global sprinting. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe has praised him as a rare talent needing careful development. Now, the teenager has now twice beaten the 20.16 qualifying mark for this year's World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Still talking sports, Juventus will face Fiorentina without the support of their ultras, who have announced a boycott, declaring the team does not deserve their backing. The decision follows Juventus's humiliating 4-0 home defeat at Atalanta, where fans abandoned their seats early and hurled insults at the players. The Ultras confirmed their absence for the crucial away clash at Stadio Franchi, emphasizing their discontent. Juventus struggling for a top-4 finish after Champions League and Coppa Italia eliminations sit fourth in Serie A, just 1 point ahead of Lazio. Manager Thiago Motta remains under pressure but claims to have the club's backing. Meanwhile, league leaders Inter have extended their lead over Juventus to 9 points, further intensifying frustration among supporters. That's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that SERAP has sued Senate President Akpabio over Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's suspension. We also told you that EFCC has recovered 365.4 billion naira in 2024 and secured 4,111 convictions. Finally, you heard that Sudanese are seeking refuge underground in besieged Darfur city as conflict rages. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.